can fix some of that stuff. Yeah, so I obviously would tell everybody to go and Google themselves and see what happens. Where else are they looking for you? LinkedIn, Facebook, blog posts, Twitter. If anybody's been on Facebook, you can go there and just type anybody's name in the world on there, and you get access to their pictures and what they're doing and their updates and all that stuff. So, set privacy controls on this stuff if you use them. Use them as your leisure, but I try to use mine professionally. Even my Facebook, even Twitter, it's purely professional for me. Interesting story with the blog post. When I was in Boston, was recruiting for I can't remember what the skill set was, but it was a very, we call it purple squirrel, so it's very difficult to find, right? They're just not everywhere, a unicorn or whatever you want to call it. Found a guy, presented him to the client loves him. Next day, client calls like, I can't believe you're representing this guy. I'm like, why? What's happening? Well, he's like, well, we did a Google search on him, and he's on these terrorist blogs. Talking about being on part of a terrorist network, and I'm like, oh my God, and this is this is some kid that lived in like Sudbury, Massachusetts, and how does that make me look as a recruiter, representing this guy? So, I just can't tell you enough that employers will look on all the different methods that they know, for your name. So, does anybody have any questions?
If you haven't been on the East Coast, Sudbury is.
Yeah.
I came out of Boston.
Yeah.
You were talking about not being able to find clientele in the Boston area.
Yeah.
You can't find them there because we're all moving here.
Right.
I'm from Boston too.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
I'm from Lexington.
So when you talk about Sudbury, that's the perfect attitude for Sudbury.
Yeah.
That is Sudbury.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Boston was fun, man. There was a lot of good stuff there. There was, and I was talking with a couple other people about it. It was definitely interesting, very transactional, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of money flowing through. But yeah, it was fun. It was good.
What if you have a low social network presence? You're just not big into that, not that you're avoiding it.
I would at least
don't participate.
Yeah, I recommend at the very least being on LinkedIn. I placed I interviewed a lady this morning, and she just graduated with her PhD from UNM in computer science, and she was like, and I don't know how I find most of the people, because I just go through a methodology every day, and then I meet people, and half the time it's a couple days later, and so I'm talking to her, and I said, well, what brings you here today? And she's like, well, you sent me a LinkedIn message. I was like, oh, and she's like, how did you find me? I was like, oh, I was just doing keyword searches for Python and some other computer languages on LinkedIn, and I came across your profile. I'm recruiting for computer science grads, and I wanted to meet with you. So even if you're not looking for a job, you should have a LinkedIn profile.
I took my LinkedIn profile down because people were sending me more resumes than I was getting benefit from being on it. And I was getting spammed, and I just didn't want to be.
You can there's security controls. You can block people from sending you messages. You can block people from inviting you, unless they have like your email address or something like that. So, with all these, with Twitter, with Facebook, there's security controls that you can put in place to keep the spam out, to keep that kind of trash down. If all you want to do is for professional networking, reference requests, getting back in touch, old colleagues, there's a place for that. But it happens. That's the world we live in, But I would hate for somebody to miss an opportunity, because they didn't have a profile up somewhere and someone was looking for them. It just to me, and I always tell folks, you turn down offers, not opportunities. It's good to get opportunities in. You might be on LinkedIn for something different. If you're a manager, it's tough. You get every Tom, Dick, and Harry sending you their resume and wanting a job. But yeah, if you're a job seeker, or if you're passively looking, absolutely. If you're a manager, like if you're just wondering, I would say put a shell out there just so you have it, at your discretion. But I would choose at least one. You gotta have one vessel, to keep you kind of up to speed. Digital damage control, kind of talked about this. Conduct a search of yourself. Take down any negative items, untag inappropriate photos. That's kind of all self-explanatory. The other thing too, like a lot of people, the different search engines give different results. So you might get something different on Bing than you would on Yahoo, than you would on Google, than you would on some of these other ones. There's just a lot of different places. And then there's also professional, like very targeted professional online places like GitHub for developers, and they could go and they actually can post their code. So there's other places as well. I don't know if there's one for you guys, or if there's anything like that in quality. I'm not sure, but there are places.
Well, we do have the ASQ
Website, the actual
website,
right.
which had we can go in there and post our professional
CV and resume and stuff. Yeah.
Not very many people use it though.
It's weird. Yeah. I very rarely advertise my jobs anymore, just because the amount of people that I find applying to them that aren't qualified. So I actually go out and recruit using some of these vessels, whether it be Facebook and things like that. We have an engine that has people can apply to and things like that. That we see the resumes and stuff, but I conduct more targeted type searches. So as a employer or a job seeker, you should do that too. Facebook and Twitter, obviously separate professional and personal. Use privacy settings. We talked about that, and then utilize monitoring tools. Google Alerts, Blog Plus. There's a couple of open source ones that will tell you if you're getting spammed or hacked or things like that. So, but these are important, and I think as social media, it started out 7 or 8 years ago. I think MySpace, and then Facebook was the big one, and there's a couple others that kind of have come and gone. But if you look at the amount of money that companies use to advertise on these tools, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, it's unbelievable. I mean, Facebook's one of the richest companies in the world now, and you'd be naive to think that you couldn't use it professionally, that you couldn't use it to find a candidate as a manager, or to vet a candidate, more importantly, or as a job seeker to find contacts and networks. So it's important. You just have to use it in a professional setting. Strategy. We talked about, you want to be succinct with your message. You want to be, one person. So pay attention to the top search engine result for your name. Make sure it's polished. Use it to reinforce your resume. A lot of people now, believe it or not, are creating their own websites. Especially people that are in like the digital and the multimedia area, web designers, those type of folks, freelance artists and photographers. But why not you? Buy a URL for like 30 cents a month or something, and you could customize it to make it who you are. Brand yourself. This is me. Check me out. You Google my name. You come to my website. You see what I want you to see. You can see pictures of my dogs, my kids, my boat. You can climb the mountains in Colorado, and here's my CV, and here's my professional profile. Why not? So. That's one of the, and then there's video resumes now that people post. Hey, here's who I am. Here's me presenting, giving a talk about myself and my 30-second elevator pitch. All these different ways that you can brand yourself and market yourself.
Are you finding a lot of people use those video resumes? We've been promoting them for 25 years in the industry.
Yeah. And it's even a step further now from a recruiting tool. We used to do, 7 years ago when I first started, it was a phone screen, as a first interview method, and then you go on site a couple times. Now it's okay, let's Skype with this person. Let's do an actual video interview. So they're Skyping, they're FaceTiming, however we got to speed this process up. It's all about speed these days because, if I wait 2 weeks for this guy's schedule to open up, he's probably going to be gone. He's going to be off the market a lot of times. So, we're doing more Skype interviews than ever, or video interviews, and so video resumes, I've seen them. Do they work any better than the regular one? I don't know. I really don't have the data for that, but I can tell you just the hiring process is changing. So, if you don't have a webcam and you're on looking for a job, you probably should go get one. Make sure you have Skype, make sure it works, because it's coming fast. So.
You use search engine optimization for your brand too, so so that yours comes up to the top
Yeah.
of the list.
Yeah, and there's ways to do that,
Yeah.
what they call organically, so you don't have to pay for it.
Right.
I used to work for an e-commerce company, and we did a lot of search engine optimization and search engine merchandising. So I learned how to put spider tags on all my sites, or when I post jobs, I put those on there. That way, if someone does a search for something, if I have the word quality 4 times in my job posting, and I have it tagged, kind of hidden on the web page, it comes up first no matter what. You can do that with your resume too, absolutely. Yeah. Get noticed. That's what that's what this market is about, is getting noticed. Brand building online. Serves as their job hunting tool, creates a hub, allows you to display demonstrations of your work documents. And that's another thing that's important, especially for, and I'm sure for you folks in your industry as well, but for web developers, I very rarely ask for a resume anymore. And when I do ask for it, I'm looking to see just their chronological work history, if they had any gaps in employment, things like that. But when I'm interested in their technical skills, I want to see their code. Send me code samples. I want to look at what you did. I want to see if it's clean, things like that. I'm sure for your folks, documentation that obviously if you work in a classified environment, you can't share a lot of that stuff. But documentation that you've done, any technical documents you've written, awards, things like that, you can all put them on the website.
That's brilliant.